morning and welcome to Spiritual Sharing. I am your host Shannon. On today's podcast we're going to be talking about protection and barriers. This goes for whether you're a medium, a psychic, whether you're spiritual at all. You don't even have to be. These practices can be very beneficial to anybody and everybody in terms of protecting yourself from what is out there to perhaps not work in your best favour or your best interests. We will cover as many of the bases as possible. I've got a lot on my list here to go over, so I hope we get through everything. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to me via my socials. The best place to get me is Instagram, Spiritual Medium Shannon, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. With that all being said, we'll get stuck into today's episode on protection and barriers, and I'm your host Shannon, and this is Spiritual Sharing. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is probably the most obvious question that I expect some of you might have, and that is why it's important to protect yourself. Why even go to the trouble if you're somebody that isn't an overly spiritually practiced person? You may be wondering why you should even bother. And basically, there are many reasons why you should protect yourself and form spiritual barriers. For a lot of people, this is simply to keep out, anything negative that would potentially cause you harm or come into your space or, violate your energy, violate your spirit, your soul, your thought process, how you feel within yourself, maintaining positive energy for yourself. If you're somebody that struggles to you wake up in the morning feeling good and it's hard to keep that throughout the day, practicing protection and maintaining barriers for yourself emotionally and spiritually is a good tool to use in terms of trying to help yourself to maintain that positive frequency throughout the day. The practices involved with protection can be as elaborate or non-elaborate as you feel content with. That's the wonderful nature of spirituality, is your practice is your practice. How you feel comfortable going about these protective methods, some of which I'll explain in more detail. But it's entirely up to you. How I protect myself isn't going to be the way the next person feels that they should protect themselves or how they feel comfortable. And that's totally fine. There are so many ways that you can go about building up your protection and building up your barriers. I will list a couple of the main ones, but you can adapt any way you like. So, why it's important. Basically, right down to the very simplistic nature of energy and how it works in negative energy, you may need protection and barriers simply to ward off the negative thoughts, the negative projections that others put onto you. If you know of somebody and you're not their biggest fan, and you know this person just doesn't like you, having up protection and barriers will ward off any negative thoughts or manipulations that they send your way, because those intentions can have a negative effect and an impact on your emotional well-being. Look at them as like curses or hexing. If somebody dislikes you so much, and they, from the moment they wake up in the morning to the moment that they close their eyes at night, if all they're doing, which, this person's obviously got to be pretty crucially rotten, but there are people out there, So if this person's mind is just focused, even their subconscious mind is just focused on the fact that they do not like you from the moment they wake up to the moment that they go to bed, that is going to have an impact on you. Their intentions are going to have impact on you. If somebody dislikes you so much in the workplace, and you know this person wants to be where you are, wants to be headed where you are, and they're envious and jealous, and their focus is for you to fail, they're going to be pouring that intention to you on the everyday. So you may even find that tasks that you would typically fly through quite easily and successfully, you might find that you're starting to fumble on certain things, and this person could very well have could very well be the reason for that. Their intentions, they're putting those intentions onto you. They want you to fail. They don't want you to be successful. They want to beat you on the ladder for whatever it is that you're working towards. So that's a really sort of stripped back basic reason for building up protection and barriers for yourself. Another reason is you may be somebody that's very empathic. You might be an emotional sponge. You go into various situations feeling one particular way, and then in an instant you can feel completely and utterly the opposite of how you were feeling. And that could be associated with the fact that you take on the emotions of those that are in your space, in your aura. You may be empathic and feel that you are emotionally assaulted by particular people that take advantage of your advice and your wisdom and, your outlook. You may be empathic and feel exhausted from large groups or events, being in the space, a collective space with a lot of people. For some of you, you don't like large groups. You don't like engaging socially because of the fact that, and you might not be able to explain it, but you go into large social situations and you just feel absolutely drained, exhausted, and it's just not worth it. You walk away from the experience. While you may have had fun, you walk away from it absolutely buggered. So it's like it's not worth it for you. Excuse me. You may be in a lower emotional frequency and need to build protection to help you balance your energies and get back some of that yin and yang positivity. And that's, you might just be in a place of negativity where, things aren't going your way. Everything's sort of, you get over one hurdle and then there's another one. You get over that hurdle and then there's another one. And then something else happens and something else breaks or something else, and you're sort of propelling this energy, this state of being. And it could just be that you need to start building your protection and your barriers. And in the process of doing that, you can shift perspective. Your outlook will begin to change because you're using positivity on yourself, in your space, to try and protect yourself. That positive energy, that love that you're using in terms of maintaining and building that protection, it does help to change your outlook. It does help to maintain a positive perspective and a more positive frame of mind. It's not something that's going to necessarily happen overnight, but if you keep it up, it will happen. It will change. You will notice a emotional shift. Psychic and spiritual attacks is another reason. People, places and things, those vibrating on lower and negative frequencies, lower vibrating entities. There is so many reasons why protection and barriers, building up these positive resistances to this negativity is beneficial. I suppose it's important to remember that, there's always yin and yang, but you can definitely do the work to protect yourself and help yourself to strengthen your positive outlook, your positive projections, and your positive well-being. And by doing that, you welcome in more positive into your life and into your everyday. Now, I'm not going to be able to list every single remedy, or what's the word I'm looking for here, or method for how to go about building protection, but I will cover the ones that I use and the ones that I've found to be beneficial to myself. And you'll find as well that over time you may want to change up your protective practices. You might be going about it one way, and then one day you're like, I might just try this. Or, I'm going to light this coloured candle because it feels like I should do that because of these reasons, and I'm going to incorporate that into what I do. Go for it. Like I said, there's no right or wrong here. The fact that you're putting this intention into whatever practice it is you feel works best for you is enough. The main thing to remember here is to use intention. Don't go into, especially if you are doing this to perhaps ward off energies from within the home, whatever scenario really. The best way to go about it is with positivity. Any of the methods that I'm going to mention, you should do the practice of these with love and light and positive vibes and good intentions. Because in the practice of doing this, doing it with intention, these rituals, these practices have power because you believe they have power. They work because you believe they work. Your protection is built because, and with spell work and ritual, it's manifesting. You're setting intentions through these practices, and your intention is to build protection, build barriers, and project positivity, bring positivity into the space, and project positivity from yourself as well to ward off these emotional, psychic attacks, these negative energies. So it's always good to remember that. So with that being said, I'm going to get into what I do. I've got quite a few things written down here, and I'll go over them in as much detail as possible. I'm going, just a little disclaimer, I get ahead of myself. I'm overly talkative. When I record these podcasts, I open up to receiving information. So sometimes while I've written down what works for me, other times things will just pop in that I should share with you guys. So I have taken on the practice of writing things down to try and stay on track as much as I can. But I've listened to the other podcasts, and I get so easily distracted and go off on, random tangents. But anyway, that's totally fine. But I'm trying my best to stay on track here for you guys so that it's easier for you to keep up. Okay, let's get into it. What can we do to build our protection, to build our barriers? The first thing I'm going to sort of skim over, I guess, is when I began conducting readings. I would get burnout very quickly. I was doing too many at once for somebody that was just starting out. I was doing like 6 readings a day, and like I haven't even been able to find many that, when they're starting out, that's what the norm is, I guess. I guess it's no norm. It's whatever, you can manage, but I definitely couldn't manage that. I would have a week with readings, and then I would need to rest. Not even need to rest. I was forced to rest. Like, I couldn't even think straight, let alone sit down and try and connect and perform a reading. There was no way that was going to happen, because I was just too buggered, and that was because I wasn't protecting myself. I wasn't setting barriers. So going into my mediumship, I wrote down what I was okay with happening during my readings. So when I start the process of a reading, my guides come in first. My 2 main guides, Michael stands to my right and Shama stands to my left, and then I have family members and they stand behind me. I only bring in messages from those that are in my visual, to the front of me. I don't feel comfortable with anybody going behind me, so if anybody doesn't acknowledge that, and I'm aware of it, my guides will step in, and that's it. Like, that's squashed kind of thing. But these barriers that I put up and established, once I realised that was even something that I could do, and there'll be many others. Like I said, I made it known that if I am to feel, clairsentience, if I'm to feel anything, it's at, on a scale from 1 to 10, it will be at this level, and it's got to be something that you're comfortable with. You can do that. You can set those barriers. When I have a shower, like, I know people, mediums, who, when they have a shower, they'll connect with spirit. They'll open up and they'll just receive what comes in. I'm telling you now, I don't like when I'm having a shower, or if I'm having a bath, that's me time. Like, I've got a 3-year-old. I barely get 20 seconds a day to do what I need to do, so there's no hope in heck that I'm going to be opening up and talking to anybody. But I've set those intentions, I've set those barriers. So I just wanted to mention that first. So if you are a practicing medium, even if you're not a practicing medium, you're an empath. If you are psychic, if you read tarot, whatever, intuitive, whatever, just Joe Blow, go on about your day. You can set whatever barriers you feel you want to set for yourself. So do that. And I did this just in the practice of, I would go into a meditation and I would just speak these barriers, these, I guess, guidelines in my mind, and that's enough. That's all you need to do. Like, they know, and it's done. So moving on from there, visualization. Oh my god, why can't I talk? Visualization. I can't say that word. I don't know why. Visualization is a big one. Doing meditation, visualizing your intentions. I will do a protective meditation. I have these listed actually on my YouTube channel, Spiritual Medium Shannon. You can find these in one of the playlists I've got down there, and I use a couple of protective meditations. They only go for about 10 minutes. You can choose others. There's so many. You can literally just go on YouTube and type in protective meditation, and there'll be so many there. And the process is pretty consistent across a lot of the meditation videos that are out there. Spotify, search protective meditation. There will be so many. So that's how I do it. I basically go into a meditative state. I visualize white light coming through, breathe out negative energy, and then I build a white or gold light cocoon around myself. And I do this for some time, and this is protection. You can affirm the meditation, you can affirm the protection simply by stating, I am protected. And there you go. You've affirmed it. So that's one way. Another one is, ritualistic or spell work. You can go about, if you're somebody that practices with spells and ritual, you know that the possibilities with how to go about protecting yourself through this art is endless. Like, there's so many variations. You could use a white light candle. You could light a candle up, focus on the candle, put your intention into the candle that you're protected, build your white light coming around you from the candle. Another good one, and this is more so for the home. I mean, obviously you've got smudging as well. Smudging is a big one. You get white sage smudge. You can use, I think it's San Paulo. I can never pronounce anything. And you light it, and you go in every nook and cranny, every dark space, every open. You smoke the daylights out of your house. And as you're going around, make sure that you leave one window open in each room, and set those intentions. State, if you are not from the light, if you don't work with love and light, you are not welcome here. Banish that negativity from your home through verbalization, and be firm. Treat it like if you've got somebody in your house and you don't want them in your house, you're not going to go, excuse me, you're not supposed to be here, can you please leave? You'd be like, get your ass up and out of my house. Be firm. You don't have to be rude and disrespectful, because you're also working from a place of love and light. But you can be firm in those intentions. If you are not here for positivity, if you're not here working from the greatest good or the greatest of intentions, get out of here. That's it. So smudging is a big one. I've also written down a little bit of a ritual that I do myself. Basically, you'll want some charged or blessed water. You can do this yourself. You can do it simply by, you could use moon water even. I sometimes do this with moon water. I set water out in an opened up bottle out during a full moon, new moon, and you can use that water. But basically, you can literally just hold water and pour your love and intention into it. Do this visually. Close your eyes with the water. Visualize love and light coming from you, radiating from you, and going into the water. That's all you need to do. It's quite simple. And then, so this is done with just charged or blessed water and salt. Not like cruddy salt. You could use what's it called? Just like sea salt. And grab some and put the sea salt in areas around your home where you feel negative energy, where you feel that you want to be cleared and cleansed out. And then with the salt place, get some of the charged water and sprinkle it onto the salt, and visualize the salt as the water absorbs into the salt. Visualize negative energy being removed and absorbed into the salt. And then you can leave and really focus that intention. Every single time you go to each area of your home that you've placed the salt, and you practice this, visualize every single time with the water being absorbed into the salt, it removing the negative energy. And then leave this in your home, leave this in the areas that you've placed it for 3 days, and then afterwards clear it out, clean it up. Make sure, obviously, not to leave it anywhere where your fur babies or children can get to it. So that's sort of just one, and I'm not even skimming the surface here of what you can, what rituals and spell work you can come up for yourself. Again, have a look on Instagram, have a look on Pinterest, Google, spell work and rituals for building protection, setting barriers, removing negative energy. Another one, if you yourself feel that you are being attacked or your energy is low, you're not vibrating on the highest frequency, a spiritual bath. I do this, I try to do this once a week. You can do it as much as you want, but I really do try and do this once a week, especially on weeks where I'm doing lots of readings. You can put into the bath basically whatever you want to, but I always make sure to put some Epsom salts. Epsom salts? Just salt, sea salt. And put that into the bath, and then you can use essential oils. I put a bit of lavender. Lavender is another good one for smudging. I put lavender, you can put crystals. I usually put a clear quartz crystal in the bath as well. And when you get into the bath, really soak in it. And I mean, go under the water. You want to be under the water. And again, set your intentions with this as you're doing this, going through this process. When you submerge under the water, visualize all the crap, all the negativity, just washing away and staying in that water. Like the gunk is in the water, and when you get out, you're detached from it. And you will feel better. You'll feel so good. I love spiritual baths. Okay. Another one is to ask your guides. Everybody has spirit guides. They come in various shapes and forms. They can be anyone and everyone, and I will do a video on how to find out who they are for you. A podcast. It probably don't even need to. If you're meditating and you want to know who your guides are, say, who are my guides? And I'm not saying that at all to be patronizing. It is as simple as that. Simply ask. And then the first that comes to mind, that's them. If you want to know their names, ask. The first that comes to mind will be there. I currently have 2 spirit guides, as I said, Michael and Sharma, male, female, whatever. But my family, some of my family do stand with me as well. But I know this isn't going to be forever. And I am aware of the fact that I do have more guides. I'm just, they just haven't come to me yet. I haven't, we haven't gone there, but I know that they're there. Again, that's a whole other conversation. This is what I mean about getting off on a tangent. But yeah, you can ask your guides to protect you. So if you know who your guides are, go into a meditation and ask them to protect you. If you're doing a meditation, ask them to protect you. One of the meditations that I do have on my YouTube, one of my YouTube playlists is this process is done in the meditation. You visualize your guide, you ask your guide for protection. Your guides are there for that reason. They will protect you if you want them to. If you ask them to, they will protect you anyway. But if you feel that you need a little boost, they will. Another one is supportive loved ones, family, friends. So, just as the people that perhaps don't come with your best intentions, and because the conversations that you have with these people will be draining. And this could be family, this could be friends, this could be co-workers, whatever. Some Joe Blow you meet on the street. Just as draining conversations can have a negative impact, supportive and positive conversations with loved ones, family and friends, co-workers, people that have your best interests, they can be as equally valid in the process of protection. If there's somebody that you can go to and actually talk about situations that you may not be feeling the best about, when you talk to this person and you walk away from it and you do feel lighter, you do feel like you've got valid advice, you do feel like you're supported, that's shifting your energy. That's shifting and washing away some of the negative focus you may have had on this particular topic or situation that you're able to move past now because you've aired it out with somebody. So that's another good one. Chakra balancing, again, we're going to do a podcast on that, but working on a chakra balancing meditation will help build up your protection. Having protective plants in your home or planting protective plants in your garden, sage plants, aloe vera, peace lilies. Again, this is something that you can just pop into Google. If you're somebody that is a green witch and loves working with plant life and loves being in the garden, and that's your therapy and that's your practice, plants are a really good one. So have a look on Google if you want to know some more of those. And also there'll be rituals surrounding plants and what have you that you can do. I think that was pretty much all that I had written down, and I know that I'm going to have missed so many. I'm also one of those people that when when I'm thinking about what podcast to do next at 3 o'clock in the morning, wide awake, I have a million ideas. But when I then sit down the next day to write them down and begin the process of recording the podcast, I can't remember anything. So yeah, I think that's pretty much that. They're the ones that I do. That's how I go about it. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I just bumped the mic, so you're probably deafened. Yeah, excuse me. So they're just the ones that I do. The main ones would be meditation, visualization. Why can't I say that word? Smudging, spiritual bath. Asking my spirit guides. I've begun the practice of really focusing and working with my chakras. So yeah, they're definitely the main ones. I have done the salt around the house. And as for how often, the protective meditation I do at least once a week. Because I meditate like flipping every 30 seconds it feels like, but yeah. So the protective meditations I do at least once a week, sometimes once a fortnight. Again, I want to build that up because I do the mediumship and readings, and I am an empath, so I do take on a lot of that, the energy from the people that I'm reading. And smudging, again, I do, and you can do this, like if you've got children, build up their protection as well, and you can do this in the exact same way if you don't want to be in their face with it. You're just sitting down together watching TV, and you could be focusing and building their own cocoon around them. Just while you're sitting there watching TV, just meditate on it, visualize it, ask your guides to protect your children, ask your guides to protect your home, ask your guides to guides to protect this situation. The possibilities really are endless, and if you feel that what I've mentioned here doesn't work for you and you're like, okay, that's not going to work for me, crystals, I haven't mentioned crystals, are another one. Look into the meanings of each crystal, hold the crystal, visualize the crystal, place the crystal in a particular area and visualize it removing negative energy from the space. That's another one. Where was I going with that? I've lost my train of thought now. But yeah, if these don't feel like they work for you and you want to go about it a completely and utterly different way, go with your gut, go with your instinct, go with what works for you, go with what makes you comfortable and with what you feel you can maintain. You don't feel comfortable, performing ritual, go about it another way. You don't feel comfortable meditating, go about it another way. The possibilities are endless. And with that being said, I'm going to leave it there for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Do reach out with any questions. How do you go about protection and building your barriers? I'd love to hear. again, thanks for listening to me blabble on for 30 minutes. I am your host, Shannon, and this is Spiritual Sharing. Thank you, and I'll see you all next week.